So a lot of people are asking us what's going on with the market here in coastal Orange County. It's a simple question with a complex answer. It really depends on the community, the little micro markets within the overall segments of, you're talking about Newport Beach or Corona Del Mar or Crystal Cove. Today, we're gonna give you some answers on what's going on in a community called Newport Coast and Crystal Cove here in coastal Orange County. Currently, there's 57 homes for sale. Out of those 57 properties, there are only 9 in escrow. Now, I only say only because there was less inventory last year at this time and there was actually more homes in escrow. So what does that mean? Are we expecting more inventory and less homes going into escrow? Probably, and that's because sellers are thinking and pricing homes like they were 3 to 6 to 9 months ago, which meant if a house sold for X, you price it 10, 20, maybe even 30% higher than the last actual closed sale. And that's not the right pricing strategy in today's market. The market's still incredible. I'd still call it a seller's market, even though activity, sense of urgency, and the amount of escrows has changed. It's a transition in the market, and that's why having a local area knowledgeable expert to give you the right pricing strategy and advice is critical. I'll give you an example of what I mean. You take a look at the segment in Newport Coast and Crystal Cove, over 10 million. There's currently about 23 homes listed for sale, over 10 million in Newport Coast and Crystal Cove combined. Now again, Newport Coast and Crystal Cove technically fall under Newport Beach, fall under Newport Coast, but they're two different communities. They're actually technically not even adjoined. They have separate gate entrances, and they're different types of properties and different buyers and sellers. Here's what I'll tell you. There's only one home for sale that's in escrow, over 10 million in both of those communities combined. Now people might go, okay, that means the market's softening, the market's dropping, it's turning into a buyer's market. I say no, and here's why. Side note, the one property that's in escrow is our buyer. We're representing the buyer on a property at 4 Pinnacle in a community called Pelican Ridge Estates. But besides that one, how come the other 22 or 23 are not in escrow? How come they don't have accepted offers? Well, the answer is simple. They're priced a little bit too high. Buyers are saying, hey, I understand you want to sell higher than the last sale. I'm probably agreeable to that, but I'm not going to pay 10, 20, 30% higher, more than the last comp, because I just don't feel like the market's going to accelerate at that same rate. And the homes are very unique. Over that $10 million price point, the majority of them are custom homes. Some of them are original, some of them have ocean views, some of them are fully renovated, and some of them are new construction. They all have to be priced differently. Now, what's going to happen is it's kind of a little bit of a standoff. You got your sellers and your buyers, and they don't see eye to eye. It's kind of a game of chicken or see who's going to flinch first. And after 27, 28 years of dealing with homeowners continuously, I can tell you that in a transitionary market like this one that we're in, it's going to probably be a seller or two that flinches and lowers the price because they really want to sell. Now, every single sale, every single listing, every single data point is critical right now. Everybody's watching. So in Crystal Cove, you've got certain properties that are tracked and custom that are available for purchase right now. And they haven't been really available, let's say just 6 months or a year ago. There was almost no inventory. You looked in that whole sub-community of Crystal Cove, there was 1, 2, maybe 3 homes for sale. Now there's about 12. And that's a big number considering where we were just a few months ago. Now, again, what does that mean if you're a buyer? Are prices falling lower than the last sales? Absolutely not. We're not seeing any data points to substantiate prices are actually falling. What we need to do is educate sellers, and sellers need to listen to us expert agents on where to price your property. Pricing is critical. Buyers will pay more than the last sale. They just don't want to overpay. And this is more of a sense of feeling. They know that there's not a lot of inventory. They know that they don't want to go through a remodel, and they know they want some type of view. So they'll pay a premium price, but they're not going to pay an exorbitant amount. It's like the watch market right now. It's softer than it was a few months ago. Does it mean it's falling lower than the retail sales prices? Absolutely not. Are they still hard to get? Yes. But the 2 and 3x prices that were happening, for example, in the luxury watch market, it's softened. That's what this reset of this transition market is doing in the luxury space in real estate as well. Now, how does that affect you if you're a seller and you're a buyer? If you're a seller today, you'd contact an expert agent like myself and my team, and we would give you the right pricing strategy in order to get your home sold. Now, I gave you a stat earlier. There's approximately 57 homes for sale. Believe it or not, out of those, there's 9 in escrow. We've got 4 of them. And what does that mean? Our team that has about 10 to 15% of the actual listed home market share, out of the homes that are actually in escrow, meaning an accepted offer, we have about 50% of that market share. Now, how are we doing that? One, we're pricing our homes appropriately. Two, when we're representing buyers, we're giving them the right advice to get away from this mindset that home prices are crashing. We're still getting to pay fair market value, but we're giving them the right advice. And more importantly, when it comes time to get a deal done, we're getting these two parties that don't actually agree with anything when it comes to pricing or, let's say, repairs or all these little details in an escrow. We're getting them to come together and have a meeting of the minds and agree to do something equitable that benefits both parties and get a deal done. That's really the difference between an expert that's local to your market and can be an expert negotiator. It's a different market than it was 6 or 9 months ago, definitely. So you've got to be more of a negotiator, a psychologist, rather than a listing agent who just puts the sign in the ground, goes, uploads live digitally on the MLS, and it sells itself. We're not seeing 10 offers in the first week right now. We're seeing reduced traffic, but there's still a lot of showings, and there's historically low levels of inventory, which means it's still gonna lean towards the seller side of the market, meaning prices are not gonna drop. Sellers don't have to do all the repairs, but they still need to do some. I'll tell you, 3 to 6 months ago, buyers were buying every property as is, with a rent back, with almost every term the seller wanted. That was really one-sided and it couldn't last. That's not sustainable. The market's shifted more to a middle range where both parties have to come to terms with an agreement, and that's where an agent actually has a value. I told my team this week in our team meeting, agents weren't as important to the transaction 3, 6, 9 months ago, because let's be honest, a home kind of sold itself. The agent was there just to avoid the mistakes from happening, or the document management and just the overall management of the escrow process. Right now, your expert agent is critical to pricing, presentation. You've got to create a level of empathy for the seller, open their eyes up to not be so one-sided when they're thinking about doing a sale or getting a property listed. And then with the buyer, you've got to kind of get them up in price and get out of this negative rhetoric. The prices are falling, because really they're not. Now, can they fall in certain categories? We'll do a separate video on what type of homes are susceptible to any kind of price drop, but I'll give you a little spoiler alert. It's homes that need a lot of renovation. And why is that? One, it's always been inconvenient. Nobody wants to renovate a home. I just went through a massive renovation of my own property in Newport Coast, and let me tell you, it was painful. I've renovated tons of properties in the past. This was an excruciating process. Would I do it again? Absolutely, if the price was right, but I'll go into it eyes wide open. I know what market we're in. Now, subs, vendors, contractors, material suppliers, they still haven't caught up to the supply chain issues, so you're still gonna have that issue, and that's why buyers don't wanna deal with the inconvenience and pay the high cost right now. So homes that need renovation, that don't have a view, or homes that have a view that need renovation, they're gonna be softer on price. Definitely the homes that are brand new construction, have views in key locations, those homes are gonna be a little bit less effective and probably will still sell at new record prices. I guess the real question that everybody wants to know is, should I sell now? Should I wait to buy? And these are questions that have complex answers based on your exact situation. What we ask people to do is give us a call. We're the experts. We've been through this hundreds of times, and we're the leader in the marketplace. We have a saying, the Daftarian Group moves the market, because at the end of the day, we're making these transactions happen. They don't happen on their own. It's through right setup, right advice, the right execution, and that takes a little bit more than a 10 or 15 minute video. It's gonna be a couple meetings. It's gonna be some sit downs at the kitchen table. And we're gonna have to figure out exactly what it is that you want, see what's happening in the market. But in the end, we're selling homes in coastal Orange County, and there's still not a ton of inventory. And at the end of the day, people are still not finding what they want. And I posed a question to a buyer of mine who said they wanted to wait. I said, regardless of price, if you went back 2 years, that's a long time, right? You're talking 8 quarters, 2 years. Go back and look at every home just on a actual size and functionality in this, let's say 4,000 to 6,000 square foot for this one particular buyer. How many homes even came on the market? How many would you have bought regardless of price? You could probably count them on one hand. So that means we're still dealing with record low inventory in a hyper demand marketplace. You're hearing all the stories of people relocating from LA or Bay Area or looking for second homes, and locals moving up, and that's why our market here in coastal Orange County is still hot. You can leave the coastal market and you can see the market softening, really reducing in price. Days on market are increasing at a much more rapid rate. Now, What's going on around the corner? That's to be determined, but we know that rates will probably still hedge up because of inflation. But with the mortgage market rates, they've actually come down from a few weeks ago. We feel, and experts say, that the mortgage market, those people that price loans, they kind of had a knee-jerk reaction when they heard 7 rate hikes, and they baked a lot of those 7 rate hikes into those rates that kind of felt like they nearly doubled. A month or so ago, they were in the 2s and jumped to the 5s on the ARMs, and now they're back down in the 3s, according to our bankers and these private, A-paper lenders, whether you're dealing with Bank of America or Union Bank or First Republic or Wells Fargo. These are the banks that are offering our clients these prime rates because the loan amounts are high if they're borrowing, in fact, and they want those types of loans. They might be a little bit of a loss leader, but the rates have come back down, so people are seeing that there is no crash. They're not seeing a lot of homes that they want to buy, even in the areas they want to live in. So this catch the falling knife scenario hasn't really played out the way certain buyers have thought, and they're going to be sitting on the sidelines. They're going to be missing out. The other thing, the component is there's a usability. This is not a shopping center or a commercial building or a rental property for many of our clients. They're buying primary residences. This is a home for themselves, most likely for their family, and there's a use that they want to take advantage of rather than sitting in a situation or a house they don't want to be in. So that also should be a factor. You don't need to sit on the sidelines. If you want to know if you should buy or sell, if right now is the time, if waiting's right, give us a call. You can DM us, text us, email us. We're super easy to find. And we'll sit down and talk to you, myself and one of my agent partners. We'll sit down and figure out what the right move is for you.